The CDC just released new guidelines recommending that everyone wear a cloth face covering in public. Now, this includes whenever you're going to the grocery store, when you're going to the pharmacy, even when you're at work. If you are in close proximity with other people, you should have a covering on your face. Now, the cloth face coverings that are recommended are not surgical masks or N95s. It's really, really important that we save these critical supplies for our healthcare workers who are on the front lines. But what we can do is create our own cloth face masks from home. So here's an example of something that we can make from the comfort of our own home. If you're new here, I'm Kimberly from Sweet Red Poppy, and today we are going to be making a no-sew mask. Now, this is a very popular requested tutorial from you guys, and I'm excited to share it with you today because you don't need a sewing machine to make this face mask. All you need is some glue, a little bit of printer paper, and some fabric. And if you don't have fabric, you probably have an old t-shirt that you can cut up and make work for this project. So let's go ahead and get started. For this tutorial, you will want to print off the free PDF pattern at sweetredpoppy.com. Now this has 4 different sizes. We have a toddler, child, teen, and adult size. So choose your size accordingly, and you will cut out your particular size. For this tutorial, you will need a t-shirt, a pair of scissors, fabric glue, either hot glue or a permanent adhesive, and the Sweet Red Poppy pattern, and an iron. Begin by cutting out your mask. For this next step, lay a t-shirt out in front of you and fold it in half. If you don't have a t-shirt that you're willing to part with for this tutorial, there's a few other different things you can use. You can cut up an old bed sheet, or you can even use a dish towel. Place your pattern out in front of you. Make sure that your fabric is smoothed out completely. If you have a sewing pin, use that to adhere your pattern to your fabric, and then cut around the sewing pattern. If you don't have a pin, you can also trace this with a pen and then cut it out. Now I'm going to cut out the ties for my face mask out of my t-shirt. So I'm just cutting along the bottom of my t-shirt, and I'm going to cut about 1-inch wide strips. I've laid out all of my fabric for my mask. So in front of me, I have 4 pieces of fabric for my ties, and then I also have 2 sets of face masks. I've cut them all out of different shirts just to demonstrate which piece is which. Another thing to keep in mind, you might want to use 2 different t-shirts so that you have a front fabric and a back fabric. That way, when you're wearing your mask, if the front of your fabric is exposed to germs and different things and you take it off, you'll know which way to put it back on. In this tutorial, I am using a hot glue gun with fabric glue sticks, but you could also use a fabric adhesive. You can find either of these at any craft store. I'm just going to draw a line of hot glue about 1/4 of an inch from the edge of this fabric. And then I'm going to place this piece of fabric on top, lining up my edges. And then you want to press the 2 pieces of fabric together, making sure that they're nicely adhered together. And if you want, you can even go over the seam with a hot iron just to melt that glue a little bit more and make sure that they're fully adhered together. Go ahead and repeat this process with your lining fabric. If you want to leave a spot for a filter, then you'll want to leave an opening from here to here, about a 2-inch opening. Lay your face mask pattern out in front of you. You want to make sure that your seam is on the back side. Take the end of your fabric strip, place a small dot of glue, and fold it in half. This is going to make it a little bit stronger. And then I'm going to place a glob of glue right here to attach my strap, and I like to overlap it off the edge of my mask by just a little bit, and I also want it to be about 3/8 of an inch from the top of the mask. Repeat this with the remaining 3 pieces of fabric. Bundle up all of your ties in the center of your mask. Draw a straight line of glue about 1/4 of an inch from the edge of your fabric along this straight edge, and begin to attach your mask. Now the side that you glued should be facing upwards towards you. The right side of your fabric should be facing downwards. So you just want to double check that you have your seam on the outside and your seam on the outside. So push this down, make sure that it's firmly adhered to each other. Then you can pull your mask back. I'm going to leave an opening along the bottom of my mask, and this is going to be where I turn my mask right side out. So I like to leave about a 2 to 3 inch opening. I'm going to press this down. You want to make sure that you can see your fabric glue through the fabric. That means that you have a really good seal. And then continue gluing across the remainder of your mask. If your glue happens to dry before you've attached your fabric pieces together, you can always go back over your fabric with your iron and warm it back up. You can even go over it with a hair straightener. Check both sides of your mask just to make sure that everything is adhered together and that you don't have any holes or gaps besides the one that we left at the bottom to turn. Okay, everything's looking good, so I am going to open up this hole and turn everything right side out. You want to pull gently, roll all of your seams out. Now we're going to close this opening. You just want to draw a little line of glue along the edge of this fabric and pinch your fabric together and close this hole. If you have an iron and an ironing board, you can give it a good press right now just to flatten all of your fabric out. This is nice along your seam lines. Now that we've ironed everything on our face mask, here is our finished result. So you just place it on your face, and the top tie is going to tie high at the top of your head. You want to pull it nice and tight. And the bottom one is just going to tie around the base of your neck, just like this. So here's your finished mask. You have a nice close fit and it's easy to breathe through. And I also left an opening to place a filter. So you can see right here, I do have an opening that I can place my filter inside of. So a really, really easy way to turn a t-shirt into a face mask and keep yourself safe while you're outside of your home. I hope you enjoyed making this face mask today with me. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up on this video and don't forget to subscribe to Sweet Red Poppy. I'll see you next week with another crafty video.